Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video we will be talking about the material master, and this video is going to be an exclusive video on material master views. So let's start. So in this video we'll cover all the MM views with the implications and the vital processes in standard SAP system. You will understand how the views are created, what are the mandatory fields, what are the optional fields, and how its creation reflects the system. So these are the various views that we have in the material master: basic views, classification view, sales organization 1, sales organization 2, sales general plant view. We have the foreign trade and export view. We have 4 MRP views, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have plant data storage view, warehouse management view 1 and 2, quality management view, accounting 2, costing 1 and 2, purchasing view, foreign trade import view, purchase order text view, and additional data. So if you start with the basic views, these have the general information of the material. So there are some mandatory fields which you have to enter in order to save the master data. So first is the material description, which can be maintained in various languages. We have the base unit of measure. So this is the unit of measure in which the stock is managed. We have the division of the material. There can be various divisions for finished goods, trading goods, services, and other materials. You can also categorize it on your own way. Next, we have the general item category group. So for standard, it is NORM. Used throughout the system, this indicator has an effect on sales and stock transfer process, and it is used in item category determination. We also have the field weight unit, which is the weight of the product. We have the gross weight as well as net weight. So these are the basic views, wherein we have the material description, base unit of measure, division, general item category group, gross weight, net weight, and weight unit. Now if you talk about some optional fields, we have material group, which you can enter, product hierarchy. This field is used in sales and distribution and is maintained in sales organization 1 view. Then we have the EAN UPC. It is the material EAN code. It's particularly utilized in WM as a unique identifier for the material. So one material can have several barcodes, one for the base unit of measure. Every alternative unit of measure can have its own EAN, but it is not mandatory but optional. Now if you talk about the classification view, materials are classified in order to be found later by their class and different characteristics. Now we can have material class, batch class, and other class types which are available in SAP. If you choose 001, you are extending the material for its class type. Now we have to add a class we want to use for the material, and every class should have multiple characteristics. Now this is the classification view. So this is the class and these are the characteristics. So we have to assign the class and maintain the values for the characteristics. It's always a good practice to include the color of the product in material description as well, as it is very useful for the users. So after you have entered the class and characteristics, you can go to save option. Now if we talk about the sales organization data 1, when you choose this view, a screen with org levels will appear. Here you have to choose which plant and sales org and distribution channel you want to extend for your material. Now here you give the plant and the sales org and the distribution channel and tick this option. So after confirming it, you are presented with a screen which contains the data for sales activities. The delivery unit field is the only mandatory data here. Now this is the sales org 1 view, where in the tax category here it's mandatory, and also the delivery unit is mandatory. Now for internal sales, we will have to define a full tax indicator since the tax is applied for sales inside the country. For export, we would set this to 0, which is no tax. It depends on the tax policy of your country, but most of the countries have this practice. Delivery unit in most cases is the first alternative unit of measure. Then we have the base unit of measure, the division, and the sales unit. We also have the sales unit not variable, This checkbox is used in cases when we require the material to be sold only in sales unit. Then we have the unit of measure group, which is used mainly in conjunction with dynamic rounding profile. We have the material group, we have minimum order accepted for the material. We also have the minimum delivery quantity accepted for the material. Rounding profile, here you choose a specific rounding profile for the material. If you talk about the sales organization 2 data, we have the material statistics group, the general item category, account assignment group, item category group, and the product hierarchy, which are important. Now, the material statistics group is the indicator used to specify if the material is to be included in statistical transaction in SD. The general item category group is based on material type settings. Product hierarchy is used for reporting purposes so that sales management can analyze the sales data. Account assignment group, this field represents the accounting requirements for the material. We have the item category 2, which is copied from the general item category field. We have the product hierarchy field as well. Now this is how it looks like. We go to the next level. So after selecting the appropriate first level, you should click on the next button and you will be taken to the screen with possible entries for the second level of hierarchy. This is the next screen. We go to choose. Finally, we have the product hierarchy, which we can enter. So some other fields in the sales organization data view is the volume rebate group used for rebate settlement. We have the pricing reference material that is in the material master record and should be used as a reference for pricing purposes. We have the commission group. You can assign the same commission group to more materials. We have the material pricing group used to group the materials with the same pricing procedures. We also have the product attributes. You can assign various product attributes to the material. Then if you talk about the sales, general and plant view, we have this availability check, which is important here, and the loading group. Now availability check is an essential attribute used to define the stock availability. These methods are defined in the customizing and can include stock on storage locations. The loading group is extremely important as it is used in shipping point. Some optional fields are general plant view, replacement part, material freight group, batch management, approved batch, record required, transportation group, setup time, process time, base quantity, material group, packing materials, negative stocks, profit center, serial number, serialization profile, and distribution profile. So the serial number and the serialization profile are important if the material is serialized. These control the serialization of the product. A profile is used for the serial number and the serialization number could be by the material number. If we talk about the foreign trade view, this has the information about freight, foreign trade, and export of the materials. Here the commodity code number and export import group numbers are important, and also the country of origin. Now in commodity code, this fields contain either a commodity code or a tariff number. Export import group, system can use this to propose an export procedure. The country of origin represents the country where the material has to be produced. Then we have the sales text view, wherein you can define a sales item text for the material for various languages to be used in the sales documents. Now this is the languages maintained, so here you can maintain the languages and here the text, and then we can create new text as well. Now these views are important, the MRP views, which are maintained mostly for production purposes. So this information is supplied by the appropriate MRP controller or someone from the planning team. The only mandatory field in MRP1 is the planning type. Now this is the MRP view where we have the ABC indicator, the MRP type, the MRP controller, and the lot size. We also have the purchasing group, as this field is used to indicate which purchasing group is the default for purchasing this material. Now if you talk about the ABC indicator, this is the indicator showing the importance of the material in terms of stock availability. Most of the companies used ABC values, and the most common are A is the most important materials, B is the less important materials, and C is the least important materials. There can also be few more categories, like N is for new and S is the material that is produced only on customer request, and D is also same as S. We have the MRP type. There are various types of MRP that can be utilized. In our case, is the MRP controller. MRP controller is responsible for the production of the material. It manages all the data in the MRP views. Lot size defines the procedure used by the system in order to calculate the procurement or the production quantity of the material. There are other fields like MRP group, which is used to group the materials with same MRP control parameters. We have the plant specific material status, which when set usually indicates the usability of the material with special functions. We have the reorder point field, which indicates at which stock level the MRP should create a new order. We have the planning cycle, which is defined in customizing and assigned to the material. It can represent a day on which the planning is performed. We have the minimum and maximum lot size, the fixed lot size, which is used to indicate the boundaries for lot size. We have ordering costs, which is fixed cost per order. Then we have the rounding profile and the unit measure group. So rounding value is used in procurement for rounding the procurement quantity. If you talk about the MRP2 view, it has the data about procurement, scheduling and net requirements calculation. Now this is the procurement type, the production storage location, the GR processing time and the schedule margin key. If you talk about the procurement type, here you can choose if your material is an in-house production or an external production, or it can have both. The production storage location, here you will maintain the storage location that is copied through the production of documents. We have the GR processing time in days. Here you can set up this value that represents the time needed in days for the goods to be inspected and placed into the storage location. The schedule margin key represents a key used for determination of floats required for scheduling an order. There are other fields as well, like batch entry, the default supply area, backflush, storage location for external procurement. We have stock determination group, we have co-product, we have bulk material. We also have the safety stock, which is the quantity which is used as a safety stock, and also we have the minimum safety stock, which is the safety stock in never allowed to drop below the value. So whatever quantity we put in the minimum safety stock is never allowed to drop below the value. Talking about the MRP3 view, we have the period indicator, the planning fields like strategy group, consumption mode, forward consumption, backward consumption, fixed MRP. Now if we talk about the period indicator, it indicates if the material is to be planned, forecast monthly. The strategy group is very important field used for grouping the material strategies. For example, this can be set to make to order and make to stock scenarios. The consumption mode controls how the system will consume the requirements. Forward consumption period is a number of days as the consumption threshold in forward consumption mode. Backward consumption period is same as previous. Mixed MRP defines if material is available for sub-assembly planning. Talking about the MRP4 view, this is the only MRP view which is maintained on plant storage location org level. Some important fields are selection method, discontinued parts, and the storage location MRP indicator. Now selection material, if you are using BOM for your production, you could govern with the selection of alternative BOMs. Discontinued indicator, you can select this indicator for discontinued part. S-lock MRP indicator is the most powerful indicator in this view. It tells if our storage location is relevant for MRP. This is highly significant as it can reflect not only MRP but also the ATP which is available to promise quantities. Talking about the work scheduling view, this view is used by the production to control the scheduling of production and process orders. A production schedule determines how capacity requirements are calculated for all the materials during the schedule run. Here we have the production schedule profile, we have the tolerance data, we also have the setup time, processing time, and also the base quantity. Now if we talk about the production schedule profile, this defines how the process will flow in PP and PI. Under delivery tolerance defines the allowed percentage of quantity to be under delivered. Over delivery is the allowed percentage of quantity for production. Setup time is needed to set up and tear down work center resources. Processing time is for base quantities, and the base quantity is used for processing and in-house production time. If you talk about the plant data storage one view, the warehouse administration team should supply the data for this view. Important fields are unit of measure, storage conditions, temporary conditions, container requirements, and shelf life data like maximum storage period, minimum shelf life, and period indicator. So unit of measure is a unit in which the material is issued. Temperature conditions are temperature conditions in which the material must be stored. Storage conditions are required by the material. We have container requirements like type and conditions in the container in which the material is shipped. We have the max storage period, which is the maximum period of time in which a material can be stored. Minimum remaining shelf life for the material is to be allowed for storage. Period indicator is used as a unit of time for minimum remaining shelf life. If you talk about the plant data storage view, these fields have been repeated from the basic view 1 and the sales channel data. Talking about the warehouse management view, this view is maintainable on plant and warehouse number org level. So here we have the warehouse number and we have general data, and also we have storage strategies like stock removal, stock placement, bulk storage, and storage section indicator. Stock removal strategy is suitable for the material which has to be defined in customizing. For example, strategy of our material could be try to remove stock from high rack storage. Stock placement strategy, when we want to place our stock from production into a warehouse, we want the system to search different storage types for placement in the warehouse. Storage section indicator, when using indicators for stock removal and placement, we might encounter a problem that in the same storage type we would have storage bins that are smaller than usual and our material cannot be placed there. Bulk storage indicator is used to indicate a special case for using up a bulk storage type capacity. If we talk about the warehouse management 2 view, we have some palletization data, the storage bin stock like storage bin, the minimum bin quantity, the maximum bin quantity, the picking area, the control quantity, and the replenishment quantity. So we can give a storage type for which we are extending the material. Palletization data is information about how our material is packed into different storage unit types. Storage bin is when we want to store our material in a predefined storage bin, we would maintain this field. Maximum bin quantity is usually a number that is maintained in palletization data. Minimum bin quantity should be maintained if replenishment is active for storage type. Picking area like storage sections are grouped bins together in put away process. Picking areas group storage bins for picking process. Control quantity for certain strategies is utilized on storage type level. This is the quantity that signals the system that if the requested quantity for picking is higher than defined, system should skip the storage type and move to the next in our stock removal strategy. Replenishment quantity is when system determines that replenishment of our bin is needed, it will replenish the quantity in the field. Then we have the quality management view, which is used for the material settings for quality inspection process in QM module. We have the inspection setup, which indicates at least one inspection type which has to be set up. In the setup itself, you can choose the inspection type you want to use for the material. Here we click on the inspection type button and choose the appropriate inspection type predefined by the QM team, and third step is to confirm the changes. Now this is how it looks like, inspection setup, and we tick the option. So there are multiple check marks here. Like first is the post to inspection stock. This specifies if the material is subject to quality inspection. Material authorization group defines the authorizations for the QM users. Inspection interval is the interval between recurring inspections for the same batch. QM in procurement active is activating QM for the material in procurement. QM control key is used to define the conditions in quality inspection in procurement. You can set a delivery block, invoice block, and other types of block also. Certification type is the quality certification type. Target QM system is required QM user for the vendor. So these are the important fields in the QM view. Talking about the accounting one view, the data is entered in this view determines the way that accounting will be processed for the material. This data is supplied by your FICO consultant. So this is the valuation data like the valuation class, the sales order stock, valuation class, price control, if it's moving average price or the standard price. Now valuation classes depends on your system settings, but valuation class is the most important and is influenced by the material type. Valuation class, you can assign a valuation class for sales order stock. Price control determines whether it is a standard price or a moving average price. So moving price, you can populate this field if the price control is set to V. Standard price, you can populate this field if the price control is set to S. We also have the valuation category field, which determines whether stocks of the material evaluated together or separately. In the accounting 2 view, we have some determination of the lowest value. Some tax prices and commercial prices are important here. Talking about the costing view, it is used to determine the product cost. It can take various inputs, but for production, the most important is the costing lot size. This means that an optimal lot size used for product cost estimate can be set here. Now here we have the general data that do not cost with quantity, structure, material origin, variance key and costing lot size. With quantity structure indicates if we want to use quantity structure data. Material origin indicates if material master should be assigned to cost element. Variance key determines how cost variances are calculated. Costing lot size is only useful with the checkbox with quantity structure. In costing 2, we have the valuation data like valuation class, price control, and then we have the purchasing view wherein we have the order unit and purchasing group. Then we have the purchasing value keys, tolerance limits and other manufacturing data. Now we have the purchasing group. You can define various purchasing groups like raw material purchasing, trading goods or service purchasing. We have the order unit, we have the purchasing value key, which is maintained in customizing, consisting of all the values you can see in the section like tolerance limits, over delivery and under delivery tolerances. Talking about the foreign trade view, this is exactly the same as the foreign trade export view. Then we have the purchase order text view. It is exactly same as the sales order text view. Here you can maintain various texts for various languages. So that is all about all the views of Material Master. So that is all in this video. If you got value from this video, do like, comment and share with your friends. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or feedback, share them in the comment section below. Till we meet again next time, you all take care and goodbye.